Nobody ever thought they'd see Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker in NFL history, suddenly out of Baltimore. After more than a decade as one of the most untouchable players on the Ravens roster, he not only lost his spot on the team, but also found himself at the center of one of the ugliest scandals the league has seen in years. So what really happened to the guy who was always the definition of trust and precision? How did a player who once felt untouchable end up suspended, facing serious accusations, and with his future completely up in the air? This story is full of twists, and with every new detail, it just keeps getting harder to believe. Justin Tucker is no longer a Raven. After 13 seasons as the most reliable kicker the NFL has ever seen, he was released in May of 2025. For many, it was a shock. Tucker wasn't just another player. He was a symbol of consistency, one of those rare guys who seem immune to time and roster changes. And he was the last link to that 2012 Super Bowl winning team, a direct connection to one of the franchise's greatest moments. Officially, the move was framed as nothing more than a football decision. Baltimore had just drafted rookie kicker Tyler Luke and said it was about planning for the future. But the timing raised eyebrows. Tucker was coming off the worst year of his career, hitting just 73.3% of his field goals in 2024. And while the accuracy wasn't what it used to be, cutting a legend right after the draft felt like there had to be more to the story, and that something more connected directly to the storm building off the field. Even though the Ravens denied any link, it was impossible to separate his decline on the field from the explosive headlines surrounding his personal life. His release gave the team a way to move forward, while distancing itself from a scandal that was quickly spiraling. Still, the impact went way beyond football. Letting Tucker go meant closing the door on an era in Baltimore. It wasn't just about his kicks. It was about the calm confidence he always brought, the leadership without words, the familiar presence through so many years of change. For Ravens fans, losing Tucker felt like the end of a chapter. And that's when the accusations really started to snowball. What began as whispers quickly became a full-blown scandal, with shocking details that grabbed the entire NFL world's attention. It all started at the end of January 2025, when the Baltimore Banner dropped a bombshell report. 6 massage therapists came forward, accusing Justin Tucker of sexual misconduct during sessions that had happened years earlier. For the first time, his name was connected to something dark off the field, and the reaction was immediate. Tucker strongly denied everything, but the story spread like wildfire. What looked at first like a single report turned into something much bigger. Within weeks, more women came forward, pushing the total to 16 therapists from 8 different Baltimore area spas. The rapid increase showed this wasn't an isolated case, at least according to the accusations. It was a repeated pattern. The timeline stood out too. The alleged incidents dated back to between 2012 and 2016, right when Tucker was establishing himself as the Ravens kicker. The fact that the claims only became public nearly a decade later sparked debate, but it didn't lessen the weight of the accusations. At that moment, Tucker's career truly entered dangerous territory. It wasn't about field goal percentages anymore. It was about reputation, credibility, and character. Every new detail added pressure, setting the stage for the scandal to get even uglier. And once the specific story started to surface in detail, the shock hit an entirely new level. What the therapist described was disturbing, raising serious questions about Tucker's alleged behavior during those years. The accusations laid out by the therapists left little room for doubt. According to the Baltimore Banner, Tucker allegedly exposed himself during sessions, asked for massages in intimate areas like his pelvis and inner thighs, and in some cases, made inappropriate physical contact. Some women even claimed they found wet spots left on massage tables afterward, which they believed was evidence of ejaculation. The disturbing part wasn't just the content. It was how similar the stories were. Different women, with no ties to each other, describing nearly identical behavior. The same motions to pull away sheets, the same exposure, the same attempts at contact. With each new allegation, it became harder to dismiss them as coincidence. There were even reports that Tucker was banned from 2 spas because of his actions, though his lawyers pushed back hard against those claims. They presented a statement from one spa owner, saying she had never received any complaints about Tucker. Still, The therapist said they stayed silent at the time out of fear of losing their jobs, which only made the allegations heavier. The contrast was staggering. Tucker, the public figure, a married man since 2015, the picture of stability, versus Tucker, the accused, at the center of explicit misconduct allegations. As more stories came out, the NFL couldn't sit back. What started as a local report had become a national issue, demanding a response from the league. And that's when the NFL stepped in, launching an investigation that would lead to one of the season's most impactful suspensions.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
The league wasted no time. Even though Tucker couldn't be criminally charged due to Maryland statute of limitations, the NFL ran its own investigation. After months of gathering information, the decision came in June 2025. Tucker was suspended for 10 games, covering almost the entire first half of the season. And here's the key part. The suspension applies even if Tucker is a free agent. That means no matter what, he can't play until the 10 weeks are up. If a team had signed him in the offseason, he would have been able to practice in training camp, but he wouldn't be eligible to step on the field until November 11th. The league's message was clear. No matter how great Tucker was, the accusations couldn't be brushed aside. The suspension didn't end his career, but it left a stain that will follow him for good. That stain also complicates things for any team considering him. Signing Tucker isn't just about field goals. It's about dealing with the backlash, the media firestorm, and the public reaction. Who's willing to take on that risk for a 35-year-old kicker coming off his worst season? And that question leads straight into the uncertainty of what comes next for Tucker. Does he still have a place in the NFL, or has this scandal closed the door on his career for good? Despite everything, Justin Tucker has never talked about retirement. He insists he's innocent and believes he can still contribute on the field. But at 35, coming off a down year and facing accusations is heavy, the market doesn't view him the same way anymore. In the past, maybe a team would have gambled. We're talking about the most accurate kicker in NFL history, after all. But things are different now. The league is filled with young kickers performing at a high level, making the position more replaceable than ever. Tucker doesn't hold the same edge he once did. Of course, desperation changes things. A playoff contender struggling with its kicker might decide the upside outweighs a storm of criticism. We've already seen how the Browns handled the Deshaun Watson situation, believing talent was worth the fallout. But with Tucker, age becomes an even bigger factor. The reality is simple. Until November 11th, his career is on pause. That's the date when he's eligible to return, if any team is willing to take the chance. Until then, Tucker sits in limbo, one of the greatest to ever do it, but now fighting against one of the ugliest scandals in recent NFL history. And that's where his career stands, caught between past greatness and an uncertain future, with the question of whether he'll ever get a chance to rewrite his story. Justin Tucker left behind a massive legacy in Baltimore, but now he carries a shadow that won't go away. From franchise icon and record-setting kicker, he's become a player defined just as much by scandal as by success. The release, the accusations, and the suspension turned someone who once felt untouchable into a man now fighting just for another shot. And here's the question. Do you think any team will actually take that gamble on Tucker, or is his NFL career already over? One way or another, his name will never be remembered the same way again, in Baltimore or in the league.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.